Alright guys, we're going to be doing some maintenance on the 2013 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Today I'm just going to knock everything out. It's the 1 year, 2 year, and 7 year cycles. So we're going to do the engine oil and filter. We're going to do the gear oil and trans, brake fluid, and clutch, and the spark plugs, and throttle body gasket. So let's go ahead, it should be a long day. Alright, first up we're going to do the oil change on this. It requires 10W60. Here is the filter and 3 new plugs with a copper washer. You're going to need a T30, a T40, 13mm torque wrench, 26 foot-pounds. May help to have a filter wrench, 3/8 ratchet, and a Phillips and flathead. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, next we're gonna go ahead and take this off here. Just unscrew and put it in a safe place. Alright guys, super tight under here, but we're gonna go ahead and take these all off. They're the variations of T30, T40, and we're gonna get this plate off so we can get access to the drain bolts. And over there, you can see, is the filter. So we have access to that and a few other drain plugs that we'll get from there. Okay, the plate is off. This is 13mm and it's the main drain. As we move further down here, that is the oil filter, which we'll get next. And then we're going to go to here. There's 1, 2, and then further down here, 3, right there. So 1, 2, 3, those will get replaced. This one here we're going to reuse, but the copper washer, we're going to go ahead and replace that copper washer right there. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, next up we're going to get the filter out here. I'm going to break it loose. We may need to use a filter wrench, but let's see how hard this is without it. Yeah, this thing gets in the way here, so you can't even grab your whole filter. So, yeah, you're gonna... Okay, so that filter was hard, so we're gonna get the new filter, and we're gonna hand tighten. We're gonna get some of this old oil and go ahead and lube up the O-ring here. And then put it on, hand tight, 1/4 ton pass down. Okay, next up are this bolt right here, 13mm. They are close enough together I can get them in the drain pan. So we're gonna go ahead and do them at the same time. Okay, last one. We're gonna take this guy out right here, 13mm again, and let that drain for about a half an hour or so, and we should be good. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and torque everything, 26 foot-pounds, all the bolts here, 1, 2, 3, and the copper one up front. And we're gonna finish up and fill it up. Okay, just filled up about 9.5 or so. I'm gonna run the car for about 20 seconds, turn it off, and then I'm going to go ahead and let it sit for 30 seconds and then check the dipstick level to see if I need to add more or less. Alright, just turn it on, turn it back off, letting it sit for about 30 seconds. Time is up, so I'm going to go ahead and check this level. It is right where it needs to be. So It is right there. Go ahead and wipe that off again. Try one more time, just to make sure. Going back. So this is about 9.5 liters that I put in. And if you look there, right at the half point. So it's exactly where it needs to be. We are done. All right, I'm gonna go underneath the car, check for leaks, make sure all of them is operating fully, and then we're gonna go ahead and put the tray back on, and we're done. Off to the gear oil. Okay, next up is gear oil. We're gonna use 270A, bought 270A, so it takes about 4.5 liters of that. I have a torque wrench ready to go, half-inch drive, some extensions. This is a 22 mil for the fill plug, 13 mil for the under tray wrench as well, and then I have 8 mil with a 1/4 inch drive for the filter, flathead just to kind of pop off if the O-rings are seized, and replacements. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, we're going to go ahead and get the under tray off. These are 13 mils. Take these out here and all the way throughout the back there. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take this out first. This is the fill bolt. This is a 22 mil. Get a deep socket in here and some extensions and come out through here and get it from there. This is the drain. We're gonna do that last just in case anything goes off and wrong with there. We don't have to fully empty it now, but this is a 14 mil hex. And then over here, this right here, these two are 8mm, and this is for the filter, so be very careful. You can get a flathead if it's stuck, but just we're gonna pull that out and reuse it. All right, here we go. Diff, put this guy back on. He's the drain plug, and then we're gonna go ahead and filter it up here. We're gonna torque this down to 36.5 foot-pounds. We just cleaned the filter and put a new O-ring, lubed it up, put a new O-ring in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy back in, tighten down the 8mm on this side, and then that should be it. Alright, just finished up, so went ahead and tightened this guy back up. He is the fill bolt, 36.5 foot-pounds of torque, drain bolt, 36.5 foot-pounds of torque, and then the two 8mm just hand tight, and then you're good to go. So this guy's filled back up. We're going to go ahead and put the under tray back in, and then now the trans diff is done. Next, brakes. Alright guys, this is it, brake and clutch. I'm going to go with just the regular 5.1. This is just for everyday usage. If you were hitting the tracks a lot more, I guess you could use the RBF 600, but we're going to go ahead and save that for later when I actually do have a track event. Self-bleeding kit. That way I don't have to have 2 people, although I may just still have a second person. I think you only need 2 bottles. I have 3 just in case, something to pry off the nipples with. Until I get the wheels off, I'm not going to know what the size is. I'm using an 11mm flare, so I think that's what it is, and then 21 mil for the wheels. Alright, let's get started. Okay, last up are brakes. I'm going to go ahead and take all the wheels off, get the car up, and start bleeding the brakes. I believe they have 2 nipples, so I'm going to get a flare wrench and go ahead and loosen those up as well. I'll figure out the size once I get the wheel off. So 21mm, and let's get to work. the wheels are off, and here is one of the nipples I was telling you about that you got to bleed. There is another one right there. See if we can focus that. There it is. So when you take that cap off, there is the brake sensor housing that kind of loops around that like that. Carefully take this off. This is very easy to rip, so don't rip that and tear it off. But that hooks on right on there. Pop it off, and then you have access to this. So this is a 11mm flare wrench that I'll be using, and then I'm going to hook up a self bleeder kit, and that way I don't have to have two people. So start from the furthest end and work our way towards the brake system. Here is the fill reservoir. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We're going to fill some of that fluid in here. We're going to make sure it doesn't get below a certain level, so it introduces air into the system. I'm going to start to the far passenger side brake first, outside caliper nipple first, then inside caliper nipple, and then we're going to go ahead and just kind of work our way around. Then I'll move to the driver's side rear, and then the passenger side, and then ultimately finishing here. So let's go ahead and get that going. Oh, and by the way, when I took the wheels off, it is a 11mm, so we'll go ahead and work with that. Alright guys, last one here. This is the clutch bleed. I'm going to pop this nipple off here. 9mm, 14mm back here, and it'll bleed out that clutch, and we are done. It's the next day. I could not get everything done in one day. I was too sore, so we're gonna go ahead and do the spark plugs today. I have the 8 spark plugs here. I have a 3/8 ratchet with a spark plug tool, which just has a rubber grommet inside to capture the spark plug so it doesn't fall through. Various extensions and a wobble joint just to get to the rear ones. I know they're a little bit difficult. I have a T20 here for the coil packs and extensions as well. Obviously the torque wrench to get the torque right on these things. I think it's about 18 to 20 foot-pounds of torque here. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. These are the covers right here. I know that those just pop off. They are just held in with a very small clamp, and we're gonna go ahead and unscrew the coil packs, pull them out, and just do one side at a time. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, we just took the cap off. This is kind of what it looks like. This is a clip right here, so we're just going to pop that clip off, and underneath there's the T20 we're going to unscrew. The coil pack will just come right out, and we're going to set that aside, and there's 8 of them that go far way into there. So let's get it started. Okay, here's the first coil pack. I removed the clip here, and then T20 to remove that out. Don't lose this washer on the back end here. It was a little stuck to the seal, but you just kind of use your fingers to kind of pry it up. Be careful not to rip this rubber grommet here, but it just pops right out. The coil pack actually looks pretty good, so we're in good shape there. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of them. out. It was actually fairly easy to do. A couple recommendations: start with the front coil pack and completely remove that so you actually have some space to get your fingers to pull these tabs out here. These tabs are kind of like cantilevered, so you push the edges, far edges out, and it'll lift the inner tab and get over that hump. I was pushing like a normal tab and just kind of kept pushing the middle and it wouldn't come out. So that was it there. But yep, I'm gonna vacuum just kind of around here. There's some debris in there. I don't want that going down the cylinder tubes. And off to getting the spark plugs out next. So we're gonna go ahead and just do one for one. Replace the front one and then work our way back. And then we're gonna go ahead and do all the coil packs starting from the back to the front. Okay, just got the first one out. You can see the difference between the new one that I'm about to put in and the first one. So we got 8 more to do, but we'll get it going. Okay, just finished up the spark plugs here, got them all torqued to 19 foot-pounds for the NGK spark plugs. I worked front to back. For the last two, this really helped. I used this is the socket that helps with the spark plugs. This spark plug tool comes with a 3-inch extender already attached to it. I put another 3-inch extender on there, and then I put a 1-inch wobble joint on the end there to kind of maneuver around the back areas there. But you have 2 wobble areas here that make it very easily maneuverable. You don't have much leverage back there, so you just got to kind of take one click at a time. It's time consuming, but it's easy enough. Okay, we're going to put the coil packs back on and off to the other side. Okay, just finished up taking out the coil packs on the driver's side, and I got the furthest coil pack or spark plug out first because that just looks almost impossible to get to. You have this hose right here that impedes a lot, and you have the brake reservoir right here, which can't get my hand through, so you're at a very awkward angle. You don't need as many extensions. I did this one with just the socket tool that has a 3-inch already on there and a 1-inch wobble joint, and I used a torque wrench to kind of pry it loose because I have barely any leverage down there, and then just pulled it out, put it in slowly, and got it torqued to about 19 foot-pounds. So now we're going to work on these three. These three actually look pretty easy because there's a lot of space to work with here, so we're going to knock those out quickly. finished putting the driver's side coil packs and spark plugs back in. This one was kind of a pain. Obviously we have the brake reservoir there that kind of impedes my entrance into here, so you kind of have to work between these two bars here. Last part is putting this cover back on. So the way you put this one back on, or there's these two holes right here, 1 and 2, and on here you'll see there is that gold thing right there, and there's one way in the back there. So you just line those two up and they'll pop right in. And this clamp right here is the major clamp, and that'll just seat into place. All right, let's wrap this up and we're done. 8mm to get the bolts off, something to pry the hose clamp out, something to clean it with. I'm just using a regular throttle body and air intake cleaner from Advanced Auto Parts, and just like a brush to scrub and maybe a rag to kind of wipe it all down, put it all back together and install it. Let's go. Okay, there's a clip right here that's got to come undone for the throttle body. There's 4 bolts that are 8mm that go around in a box pattern, and then there's this clamp that's right off to the side here that holds the hose onto the throttle body. So we're going to go ahead and take that off first. Take the 8mm bolts out, unclip it. We can remove the throttle body. The gasket sits right here, so you just got to pull that out with it and then put the new one on. Let's get going. Just finished up the throttle body. Bottom right 8mm was kind of a pain to get back in there with the gasket. You kind of have to screw the bolt through the gasket. It's kind of like a tolerance fit, so I should have done that before, but next time. Put the clip back in, put all 4 bolts, tighten it up. New gasket, and then for this I just use a plumber's wrench to kind of pinch those two, and then it clips pretty nicely and tight, so we're good to go. So spark plugs are done, throttle body gasket and cleaning, brake and clutch, engine oil filters, and gear oil and trans. So we are done. Hopefully it'll fire up.